Okay, so this video is a little bit long overdue. This is Symbiote Spider-Man number 2. And if you guys saw my last Symbiote Spider-Man review video for the first one, I thought it was a good story. I didn't think it was anything necessarily to write home about, but I did like the premise of it, and it felt like an old school story. It felt like something that Peter David would write. So here's part 2. If you guys remember the last one, what happened was that Mysterio saw that Spider-Man's suit, there's a lot more to it than he may have thought. And as you know, this was around the time that Mysterio was still not considered a big threat in Spider-Man's rogues gallery of villains. He was kind of low on the totem pole, so he's still looking to also establish himself as a menacing threat in the world of villains here. So we have this guy who is I guess a stuntman or an actor, and what ends up happening here is that Mysterio propositions him because the guy's been fired. He was a little bit too rough in his stunt work, and he tells him, hey, look, I'll give you money to do something for me if you want to team up with me. And it's funny because the guy doesn't know who he is. He's like, I'm Mysterio, and he's like Rey Mysterio, and he's like, who? The Mexican wrestler. And he's like, well, father and son. He's like, no, no, I'm not that guy. So I thought that was kind of funny there, put that in there. But he tells the guy, he's like, look, I'll give you this money, help me out, because he realizes that this guy is a mutant, even though the guy's like, I'm not. But the guy has impenetrable skin. He has a degree of maybe not necessarily superhuman strength, but well, more than normal human strength, even though he doesn't think so. But he definitely has impenetrable skin. So he basically tells him, look, I'm going to pay you this amount of money. This is what I need you to do. I need you to help me get Spider-Man here. So I'm looking forward to this. Can't wait for this to happen. I've heard a lot about Jonathan Hickman, but I've never read any of his work. So I'll be looking forward to getting a hold of this stuff. But sorry, I digress. Getting back to Spider-Man here. So Spider-Man, he sees Mysterio. He actually tries to talk with him because he genuinely feels bad about the fact that he accused him of being at the cemetery for bad reasons. And, he's feeling guilty, tries to have a conversation with him. But of course, Mysterio is here for a different reason. He wants to know what is going on with this black suit, but Mysterio's not actually there, of course. So he sets up Spider-Man. Spider-Man fights Hard Rock, is this guy's name. And the guy actually ends up getting the better of Spider-Man here. And just when he takes him down, knocks him out, right when he's about to take him out, the suit defends Spider-Man. And it actually goes inside Hard Rock, poor Hard Rock here. And, yeah, as you can see, this is how poor Hard Rock here meets his end. He actually goes inside of him, and not good. While Mysterio is watching, and Mysterio ends up throwing up in his helmet because of it. But this catches the attention of Kingpin, who wants to know what the heck is going on. So Mysterio now has the confirmation he needs that there's more to this costume than he previously thought. He knows undoubtedly the costume is alive, and he decides, you know what, I can use this to my advantage. So he ends up meeting with the guy he talked to in the first issue of Symbiote Spider-Man, who's like one of Kingpin's men, and tells him, hey, look, I got something that I think Kingpin will be interested in. So he's obviously going to try to proposition Kingpin to try to get this symbiote for him, and probably work out some kind of money deal, would be my guess, in the next issue. But it's good the way they're establishing things so far. I like the idea that Mysterio, being, I guess, kind of one of the bigger losers on the spectrum of Spider-Man's villains, is the first one to really figure out that it's the suit's alive, that it's not a normal cloth suit, and that it holds some degree of power. It's an interesting concept. And also, you can see that, all right, there's an intent here to really build Mysterio up more and show his I guess his transformation really to being one of the bigger threats here, and really kind of underscoring that as the series goes on. So that is all interesting stuff, and I like how Peter David is doing that. He's really kind of building up step by step, like having Mysterio be much more conniving in how he's setting things up, and really kind of thinking beforehand, setting up these nice little traps and seeing where they're going to lead is all very fascinating stuff. So Symbiote Spider-Man #2, good, much better, I think, than the first issue. I'm looking forward to reading the third one. And yeah, I don't know how long this series is going to go on. I would think that it probably doesn't have too much longevity, because you would have to think that this, that wasn't a whole big time frame there that he had the black costume. I think maybe a matter of a couple of months before he finally figured out that the symbiote was alive, went to Reed Richards and whatnot. But then again, what would be interesting is if this took place maybe in an alternate universe where he ended up keeping it. But I don't think that that's what they're going for here. This probably has a limit of how many of these that they'll do, but I like it. I dig it so far. So if you haven't checked this one out yet, be sure to do so. I think it's one of the few Marvel comics out there that's worth picking up, and that is Symbiote Spider-Man. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And, as always, if you have any recommendations, I always like to know what they are so I can check them out, and maybe I'll review it here on the channel. All right, y'all. Till next time, the hunt continues.